planning to propose to my GF but having second thoughts because of her past. My name's Mikey. I'm 32M and have a bit of a dilemma on my hands. And for some reason, like many before me, I'm turning to internet strangers. I don't know if I'm looking for advice, for someone to tell me my feelings are valid, someone to set me straight. I don't know. For 11 years, I was with Molly, 32F. We met at college, not the American kind, the British one where you typically go between 16 to 18. Became friends, fell in love, and got together just after college ended. My oldest daughter, Lila, 14F, was just a baby when we got together. Molly had her at 18 and the bio father has never been involved. When she was 4, I legally adopted her. We then went on to have 2 more kids, Tilly, 8F, and Milo, 5M. 4 years ago, around the time of my youngest's first birthday, Molly and I split up amicably. We remain really good friends and co-parent our kids well. We share a week on off routine. However, our doors are always open on our off weeks. Our reason for splitting was simple: the romantic love we shared had become platonic. No arguments or fights, just a change in feeling. Molly has since moved on with a new partner, Megan, 29F, and they've been together for a year. This wasn't a shock as she'd always been open about her bisexuality. Megan's great and the kids love her. Not long after the breakup, I noticed a new girl start my gym. I knew she was new because if you train at the same time every day, you tend to get to know the regulars. Man, this girl stood out for all the right reasons. She was heavily tattooed, had this wonderful olive tint to her skin, had the most inviting brown eyes. She had golden brown hair and she was thick in all the right places. If you were to draw my ideal woman, she was it. Honestly, I'm a solid 6. This girl was a 10 and way out of my league. She was also the type of girl you'd look at and just know that she was a nice person. She had the kindest eyes. For the next few weeks, we'd pass each other in the gym and curtly nod and smile at each other. Nothing you wouldn't do with anyone else. I'd try my best to steal a glance at her, while simultaneously trying to not look like a creep. One Friday morning, we both happened to be squatting in the racks next to each other. I'm very much a headphones on, dialed-in type of trainer, so don't really tend to make small talk. While I was putting my plates away, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed she got stuck at the bottom of a squat and was in some bother trying to get up. As any normal person would, I ran toward her and helped her get the weight off her back safely. We finally got to talking. Her. Thank you so much. I thought I was gone there. Maybe I should take some pointers from you. Winks at me. Me. Goes pink anytime. I'm Mikey, by the way. Her. I'm Anna. Lovely to meet you, Mikey. My knight in shining armor. Me. Goes beat Redwell. Lovely to meet you too, Anna. Starts to walk away. Her. Hey. I was serious about those pointers, you know. Me. I'm here the same time every day. Anna and I started training together every day, and on rest days we'd be constantly texting. We connected on so many levels. We liked the same bands, same movies, TV shows. We started taking turns driving each other to and from the gym, and in the space of a couple of weeks we'd become best friends. I knew that I was falling for her, but I couldn't imagine a girl like her ever liking a guy like me in that way. I came to find out that Anna was 30 and a tattoo artist who came from a Portuguese family. Her parents had moved to the UK before she was born. They own a restaurant in town. She had one brother and a son named Francisco, or Frankie, currently 6M, who was the product of a holiday romance when she was visiting family in Portugal. Her son's father is as present as he can be and visits his son every couple of months. I obviously also shared my story with her. My job as a teacher, my kids, and my relationship with my ex. After around 2 months of becoming friends and getting to know each other, something wonderfully embarrassing happened. I was driving Anna and I home from the gym when Molly called. I was worried that it was about the kids, so I asked Anna if she'd mind me answering the call. Hands-free, obviously. She didn't. Molly sounded quite ill on the phone and proceeded to explain that her and the kids had come down with the flu. She then let me know that my oldest Lila wouldn't be able to come to watch Home Alone 1 and 2 in the park with me that weekend, a tradition of ours at Christmas time. She ended the call with, "Maybe you should ask that Anna you talk about all the time. It would be a lovely first date." Embarrassed, I turned to Anna to apologize, but before I could say anything she just said, "I'd love to." The setting was perfect. They put a marquee up with a giant screen in the middle of Butte Park. It was decorated with tea lights and we were given a soft mat to sit/lay on with cushions and blankets to keep warm. Gradually throughout the evening we got closer. She put her hand in mine and eventually she ended up laying on my chest. Every laugh she let out caused an avalanche of butterflies in my stomach. Between the first and second movie she looked up at me. I stared into those brown eyes and without thinking said, "God, you're beautiful, Anna." She slid up and placed her palm on my cheek. I just said, "I'm sorry. I know you're way out of my league, but She cut me off. "I've been waiting for 2 months for you to ask me out." She placed her other palm on my second cheek and pulled me in for a kiss. In that moment, I just knew. I loved her. We dated for 3 months before deciding to introduce each other to our families. My kids loved her. She's still Lila's favorite person, and so did my parents. The first time I met her family was, well, eventful in all the right ways. She took me to her parents' restaurant where I'd meet her parents Miguel, 55M, and Carolina, 56F, and her brother Santiago, Santi, 25M. Her son was the star of the show. He was only 3 at the time, but I could already see my older girls doting on him, and my son and him being the best of friends. We hit it off perfectly and the food was incredible. Having drunk a few too many Superbocs, Anna thought it'd be best that we stay above the restaurant in her old room. As we lay on the bed, In my drunken stupor I said, I love you, Anna. She kissed my cheek and whispered, I love you too. Now get done sleep. I woke to see Anna sitting up awkwardly next to me. She asked if I really did love her or if it was just a drunken slip of the tongue. I told her that I'd never loved a woman as much as I love her. She took my hand and said, I need to tell you something. I was worried she cheated or didn't feel the same. What I wasn't expecting is what came out of her mouth. Mikey, I love you, I really do. But if this is going to work, and I mean really work, then there's something you need to know. In my early 20s, before I opened my shop, I was working as an apprentice at a tattoo parlor in town. Tattoo apprentices don't exactly make a huge amount of money, and with my parents not being able to help me financially, I had to find other ways of making money. I decided to start making adult content under an alias to supplement my income. I never had any partners, just solo stuff, and to a degree I enjoyed it. I stopped when I became pregnant with Frankie. I don't want us to have any secrets, and everything I posted has been taken down. Can you accept me even though that's in my past? I just looked at her and smiled. Of course I can, you idiot. I pulled her close to me. We made love for the first time that morning. It wasn't just sex. In those first moments I've never felt more connected to someone. I took in every little detail of her body, the little freckle on her left hip, the way she'd shudder as I placed my hand on the back of her head. Everything. We haven't looked back since. Anna and Frankie moved in with us last year. We're still just as if not more in love than we were. Her shop's taken off and I've been made the new head teacher of the school I've worked at for years. I've even bought a ring and am planning to propose in 2 months' time, when we take the kids to the Christmas movie in Butte Park. But yesterday something happened stirred up some feelings about my relationship with Anna. On a Friday afternoon I tend to leave school early so I can pick my own kids up from their schools, head teacher's privilege, and we'll do some admin work in the evening to make up the hour missed. While I was browsing my emails, one came up with a link and a series of numbers. I don't know why, but I clicked it. It took me to a website that needed a PIN to enter. I entered the series of numbers from the email. It opened and I was greeted with a banner that read, Leaked, the forgotten hose of the internet, the featured model? Anna. I stared blankly at the screen for I don't know how long. Could have been 5 minutes. Could have been an hour. Anna walked in and screamed, What the fuck are you looking at? I managed to calm her down and explain. I showed her the email. But as we tried looking into the sender's details, another email popped up. It had a sort code and account number as the subject, and a message that read, I'm sure your children and the parents from your school would love to see what their wonderful head teacher's lovely girlfriend used to get up to in her spare time. Send £20,000 to this account. You've got 8 weeks or this becomes public. I feel like I'm second-guessing my whole relationship. I'm struggling to detach my Anna with the woman on the screen. Is that wrong? I never thought about Anna in that part of her life. I never thought I'd see it. And fuck, I haven't got 20 grand. Any advice? So, after a couple of days, I decided to speak to my best friend for a bit of advice. My best friend also happens to be my dad, Paul, 53M. My parents had me at 20, Bio-mom was pregnant at 19. When I was 3 months old, she decided that she wasn't the maternal type, so she booked it. Her family were never bothered either. When I was 5, he met my stepmother Lana, 49F. They were both in uni studying nursing. Now the word stepmother will no longer to be used to describe Lana. She filled that maternal role perfectly. I call her mum, she refers to me as her son. Apart from DNA, in every which way, that woman is my mother. She's done nothing but love me since I was 5 years old. I think that connection I had with my mum was a big reason I was so happy to be a father to my oldest, Lila. Sorry, went off track there. So, I spoke to my dad about what was going on, explained my concerns about Anna and my relationship and the worry about the blackmail, etc. This is when he stopped being my friend and became dad. Michael, I have never seen you so happy. She is the reason for that. You chose to accept her knowing her past, but now question it when you're actually faced with it? Look at the relationship she's built with the kids, what you've got with Frankie. Don't let something you've already known for the past 3 years ruin something special that could last your whole life. Don't worry about the money, we can sort that if needs be. But before you think about paying that money, remember how I taught you to deal with bullies. Hit first and ask questions later. Those were the words that I needed to hear, and I knew he was serious because he called me Michael. He only ever does that when he's serious. It was a Saturday and my ex's week, so she had the kids. Frankie was also with them as they were going to a theme park and Molly didn't want him feeling left out. I grabbed a few bottles of beer, Anna's a beer drinker which for some reason makes her more attractive, her favorite tonkatsu, and headed to the shop to meet her after work. I got to the shop which had shut at this point and couldn't find Anna anywhere. I finally found her sat under the counter sobbing. That killed me. It was the moment I knew that I would do anything for her. Any pain she felt, I felt. I put the food down, cracked open 2 bottles with my teeth and sat on the floor beside her. Through her sobs she spoke. Anna, I never wanted you to see that part of my life. You must think I'm disgusting. Me, that person I saw on the screen is a part of you, therefore that person is a part of me, Anna. You're the love of my life. I love you knowing your past. I'll love you in our future. Anna, you're not going to leave? Me, nah. Slips a box between her knees. Anna, what's this? She opens the box, eyes widened. Me, I was going to wait until the Christmas movie in the park, but I couldn't. Anna, I love you more than you could ever know. Want to be my gym partner forever? Anna breaks down in my arms. Of course I will. I thought you were going to leave. Me, never. So yeah, I'm the sixth that's going to marry a 10. We told the kids. They were ecstatic and we organized a meal with both of our families at Honest Parents Restaurant. There we announced that we'd be getting married. They were all overjoyed. The mothers cried. The fathers were clearly emotional but held back. Molly tearfully agreed to be my best woman. Santi, Anna's brother, came to me and put his hands on my face. So I'm finally getting a brother then? He agreed to be a groomsman and to take on the task of organizing the stag. All in all, we couldn't ask for a better reaction. After the excitement settled, Anna and I decided to tackle the situation with the leak head-on. For a little bit of damage control, we decided to tell the kids about Anna's past in an age-appropriate way, which was difficult. Tilly, Milo, and Frankie didn't really understand, but you could see that the conversation made Lila quite uncomfortable, as it would with any 14-year-old. My father's words rang in my head. Hit first, ask questions later. So after some discussion, Anna and I decided to fight back. We called Santi this morning, explained the situation to him, and asked for his help in finding who sent the email. For context, Santi is a heavily tattooed men's physique competitor, not what you'd expect from an IT nerd, but he is. The guy's literally Clark Kent. If Clark Kent was a software engineer that taught coding by night. Anyway, I digress. He agreed to help us as long as he hasn't got to see his sisters. You know, he arrived around 4 hours ago, did a lot of IT stuff that I have no business even trying to explain. However, what really shocked me is that he was able to obtain the IP address of the sender of the email. From the IP address, he was able to find something called a host name. Essentially, he was able to find the network the computer that sent the email was attached to. Santi tracked the sender back to our address. From the IP address, Santi could tell that the email was sent from a PC. There's only one PC in our house, Lila's. When we found out it was Lila who sent the email, we were absolutely heartbroken. Anna especially. They'd really bonded over a love of art, and Lila seemed to really look up to Anna, expressing that she wanted to be a tattoo artist too. She'd spend hours on Sundays sitting with Anna tattooing oranges and eventually fake skin. Anna was even considering letting Lila tattoo her on Christmas Eve, using a kit she'd had specially made for her. I don't think I've ever seen Anna so hurt. When we found out, my kids were at Molly and Megan's place for the weekend. Frankie's dad was visiting for the week, so Anna and I decided to head straight over to my ex's place to confront Lila. When we arrived, our kids weren't too surprised, as it's quite a regular occurrence to pop over to each other's houses on our off weeks. Molly could see the look of anguish on Anna's face and pulled us to one side. We explained to her that we figured out it was Lila who sent the email threatening to leak Anna's old posts. She was obviously shocked but insisted we have my parents take Tilly and Milo before we confront her. Once the younger two had gone, Anna, Molly, Megan, and I sat Lila down. Anna started. Lila, I know, sweetheart. I know you sent that email to your dad. I've never felt so violated. Any pictures of me from back then were meant to be taken down. Gone. Lila breaks down. Lila. Pictures? What pictures? He made me send that email. He told me if I didn't, then he'd make sure he'd take me away from Dad. The link in the email you sent, Lila, they had pictures of Anna from a long time ago. The pictures were of Anna with no clothes. You should know that you sent the email. Lila. I didn't read it. He messaged me what to say. I didn't read it honestly. I just hit copy, paste, and send. I couldn't have him take me away, Daddy. Anna, I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
I'm sorry.
Anna. Who's going to take you away, sweetie? Who's he? Lila, my father. Me, what are you talking about? I'm here, Lila. Lila. Not you, my biological father. I've got the messages to prove it. Please, I'm so sorry. Silence lingered for a little while before Molly broke the ice. I didn't think you knew who he was. For context, Craig, 40M, or Lila's sperm donor, got Molly pregnant when she was 17 and he was 25. What we've been told by Molly is that he was an emotionally manipulative older guy who'd managed to convince her that they were in love. When he found out that she was pregnant, he ran. Didn't want the stigma of being the grown man that knocked up a teenager. Molly didn't know much about his family, but had heard that they followed him. Molly felt completely taken advantage of, and unfortunately, due to the age of consent in the UK being 16, legally there was nothing she could do. Disgusting, I know. Molly was sat looking almost numb. Megan moved closer to her and gave her a tight embrace before Lila spoke again. He found me, Mum. I never needed to know about him. I knew enough about how he left. I've always had a dad. And when he threatened to take me away from Daddy, I got scared. I'm so sorry to all of you. I should have come to you first, but I thought I could make it all disappear. Anna was the first to comfort Lila when she broke down a second time. It's okay, sweetheart, we've all got you. But you need to show us the messages so we can help. Lila went upstairs to grab her phone. She opened Instagram and showed us the messages. It seems like Craig had been following Lila for a long time. He'd been keeping tabs on her through there. On a day where Lila had posted a picture of her and Anna at the shop, he decided to message her. He introduced himself as an old friend of her mum's and questioned who the lady in the picture with her was. Lila had tried to ignore him, but the messages kept coming. She told him to leave her alone, but the messages asking about the lady in the picture wouldn't stop. Lila eventually messaged back bluntly, "It's my stepmother." He then replied, But I'm single, Lila. Confused. Lila replied, questioning what he meant. This was his reply. I'm not sure if your mother ever told you, but your father, Mikey, isn't your biological father. That's me, Lila. The reason I've not been in your life is because truthfully I never fancied being a father. But I'm in a bit of a bind and I think you could help. Do you know who your stepmother is, Lila? I was a big fan of hers, I think I still have all of her pictures and the videos. I'm sure the internet would absolutely love the return of Aurora Blue. What you're gonna do for me is simple, Lila. I'm gonna send you an email template for you to send to your dad. You're then going to send it from an anonymous email address which should stop the email being traced back to me. I've got myself in trouble with some bad people. I need £20,000. Do this for me or I will contest your adoption and have you taken away from Daddy Dearest and Sweet Anna. Do you understand? Message me back when it's done. Lila was inconsolable. Anna and Molly comforted her. For some reason, seeing my daughter in this state washed all anger I felt away. I just wanted to console her, reassure her that she'd be okay. In those moments, everything else, all the outside noise was gone. It was time to be a dad. I got everyone's attention. Lila, give me your phone. She gave it to me, and I simply put it in a drawer. I turned to Molly. You know what to do? Lila and me will go get the snacks. You three can set up. Molly smiled at me. Good idea. You see, when Lila was little, whenever she got upset she would curl up in a blanket and watch a movie. Typically something Disney. When Molly and I noticed this pattern, we decided to make it a family thing. I'd take Lila to the shop to get snacks and pop, and while we were out, Molly would turn the living room into a cinema. We always said to her that she should never be upset alone. This was something we've done with all our kids, even after the divorce. On the drive to the shop, I told Lila that the adoption meant that no one could take her away from me, and no one ever will. She sobbed for a while, and for the first time in a long time, the teenager sat beside me was my little girl. She needed her daddy. My heart broke for her, but at the same time a part of me felt happy that she still needed me. The five of us spent the afternoon and evening watching some of Lila's favorite movies, and she seemed to cheer up. The next day, I'd come to a decision. Craig had hurt my daughter, Anna and Molly, so badly it couldn't go unpunished. I took Lila's phone and messaged him. This is Mikey. Meet me at this address on the 30th of November and we can talk about getting you your money. Come alone or the deal's off. I sent him the address of Anna's family restaurant. I'm not giving him any money. In fact, Santi, my dad, Anna's dad, and I have a plan for Craig. I'll update in a few days when the meeting's done. We'd arranged to meet Craig on the 30th of November. He arrived at the restaurant with a smug grin on his face. Like I asked, he came alone. I told mine and Anna's fathers as well as Santi to leave Craig and me in the private function room. They obliged but assured me that they'd be on the other end of the door. He sat on the table opposite me with his shit-eating grin and our conversation began. Craig, have you got my money, Mike? I'm too old for this fucking guy. Richie, sit down, you've brought me to. Me, we'll get to the money, Craig. I want you to answer some questions for me. Can you do that? Craig, I'll humor you, but keep the old men and the geared-up nerd outside, deal? Me, fine by me. I just want to know why, Craig. Why you chose to stalk my daughter's social media. Why did you try and manipulate her? Why bring my fiancé into this? Craig, how long have you got? My reasons for following Lila are probably not what you'd expect. I never had any more kids, Mike. Never really wanted them. But from time to time I'll check up on your daughter and picture what it would be like if I was her dad. I'd sometimes do it just for comfort. See what her life is like. See if she's happy. A few months ago I borrowed some money from the Greeks, 10 grand to be exact. I used that money to pay off some debts I had to some of the roadmen on my estate. I've got a bit of a coke habit, Mike. The day I messaged Lila, the Greeks had caught up with me. They told me I had 8 weeks to double their money or there'd be consequences. And I can't imagine those consequences would exactly be pleasant, Mike. Me. What the fuck has this got to do with my family? Craig, I was getting there. After the Greeks came to my flat, I went back to my happy place to look at your daughter. And who do I see? Aurora fucking Blue. I was a big fan, Mike. I'm not just saying that. I must have been a subscriber for her whole adult career. She had everything, the body, the hair. Fuck me, how often do you see a porn star with kind eyes? Honestly, I probably spent the year or two she was online fantasizing about meeting her, being her man, you know? Me, please move on, Jesus Christ. Craig, I am fucking getting there. When Anna announced she was taking her sights down, I kinda scrambled to save as much of her content as I could. Save it for a rainy day, maybe? Well, that rainy day came, and at the same time an opportunity presented itself. I knew Perfect Daddy Mikey was a teacher, a head teacher in fact. What's the take-home, Mike? 80 grand? And I know that Aurora's got some of that slut money left. Crack. As the words left his mouth, I'd cocked my right arm back and hit him square on the nose. I could feel his nose shatter as I hit him. Anna's father and brother bolted in and pinned him to the wall. He looks at me, spits some blood and laughs. My money, Michael. Anna's brother hits him in his gut. There is no money, I replied. It was my turn to speak. You see, Craig, I never was going to pay you. I spoke to my school governors. They support me regardless of what happens. Anna and I have agreed to accept whatever comes out. We have each other, who cares? I'm living your dream, you sad little prick. The daughter you threw away. The woman you lusted over for years. Mine. Craig laughs, he replied. I thought you'd say something like that. The leak's already out. 200 subscribers and counting since this morning. £10 a head. I'll get that money soon, I think. I just wanted to see if I could get any more out of you. I pulled my phone out and stopped recording. I looked at him and winked. I told Anna's father and brother to do what they want with him. I don't, nor do I want to know what they did with him. Won't have been pretty. My old man and I just left. We picked up Anna and went to the police station. We handed in the evidence and Craig was later charged. The charges included coercion of a child, extortion, and following a search of his flat, possession of Class A substances with intent to supply. He's been sentenced to 10 years. Anna's old posts were taken down again. We just hope that no more comes of it. We're just thankful that the police actually came through for once. You could tell that Anna was still feeling down, but a few days later an opportunity presented itself for me to change that. I received a call from the company running the Christmas movie in the park event. They were letting me know that it was canceled as only my family's ticket had been bought. I could see why. Christmas with the Cranks was being shown. In that moment I had an idea. I asked to buy all the tickets for the evening, no matter the cost. I arranged for all of our family and friends to be there. I even flew her grandparents over from Portugal. On the day of the event, I had Molly take Anna out shopping and to have their makeup done, while I helped my in-laws prepare a load of food for the event. My parents had all of the kids while we prepped. When we arrived at the marquee, it was perfect, the same setup as our first date. Anna arrived shortly after, convinced by Molly to wear a white dress as planned. Frankie ran towards her and handed her a veil. Her father took her hand and walked her towards me. The surprise of the moment turned to realization. I took her hands in mine and asked, "Shall we do it then?" She smiled, nodded, and allowed me to brush away the tears. So yeah, that's how I ended up marrying the love of my life. It seems like the perfect places to end this update, as I post this from the Algarve, soaking up the Portuguese sun. Anna and I had our second wedding celebration yesterday with her extended family here. And before some of you ask, yes, we still had to watch Christmas with the Cranks, unfortunately. Life's good.